in tonight's headlines. Tropical storm Maliksi triggers the first number 3 signal of the year, but a higher signal is unlikely. Chief Secretary says the subversion convictions of democracy activists yesterday proved that national security risks do exist. And Donald Trump becomes the first US president to be convicted of a felony, although he vows to continue running for office. Hong Kongers have been told to brace for a wet and windy weekend as the tropical storm edges closer, bringing unsettled weather to the region. The observatory issued the number 3 strong wind signal at 4:40 p.m. as tropical storm Maliksi barreled towards western Guangdong. As of a while ago, the storm was about 300 kilometers southwest of Hong Kong. Maliksi, which means agile in Tagalog, is expected to make landfall tonight to early tomorrow morning. The number 3 warning will remain in force until 6 a.m. tomorrow, but a higher signal is unlikely. Showers will ease off early next week as the storm weakens upon moving inland.
The government defended the High Court's ruling in the city's largest national security case, in which all but 2 of the 16 defendants pleaded not guilty to conspiring to commit subversion were convicted. Chief Secretary Eric Chan emphasized that the verdict proved the existence of national security risks in Hong Kong. The defendants aim to paralyze the administration through destroying Hong Kong and its constitution, according to Chan. It is obvious that ultimately, the activists wish to use the region as a base to suppress the country's development, the city's number 2 official said. Chan also indicated that there are color revolutions in many parts of the world, which have all ended in chaos and affected the livelihood of the people. I believe no one wants that to happen in Hong Kong, he said. The administration also strongly condemned and opposed foreign governments and groups for making untruthful remarks, slanders, and smears towards the verdict. It urged Western groups to stop interfering in the internal affairs of China and the SAR and refrain from any groundless accusations and malicious smears. Chan pointed out that foreign countries have used democracy and freedom as false flags to poison youths, misleading them to believe that tossing petrol bombs is an act of demonstrating such rights. He reiterated that subverting the regime has nothing to do with freedom. Meanwhile, taking to the airwaves this morning, Senior Counsel Ronnie Tong said the verdict showed that the common law system remains effective. The Executive Council member added the judgment also indicated that the conviction threshold for conspiring to commit subversion is high. This is because a defendant would only be convicted if he or she participated in the illegal activity as well as intended to subvert the government. Janice Low, Cable News. It has been almost 2 decades since the government proposed to charge people for garbage. Even though the government has once again halted its plan of rolling out the municipal solid waste charging scheme, the Environment and Ecology Minister emphasized that the 8-week trial period has made a difference in the society. Speaking at iCable Let's Talk program, Tia Chin-wan said the public has become more aware of waste reduction and recycling. He emphasized that the ultimate goal of the scheme is to promote garbage reduction at source. Suspending the measure do not mean our efforts are wasted, as it has helped lay the foundation for the habit, Tia said. The government will return to the Legislative Council in the middle of next year to report on its progress on improving the public's waste reduction habit. When asked whether it means that the garbage tax could be resumed, the secretary said it's too early to say so. In the meantime, the authorities would focus on promoting and educating the society to go green, as well as enhancing recycling facilities, according to Deb. This means that the number of food waste recycling bins would be doubled, along with the installation of 100 mobile booths. The number of green and community collection spots would also be stepped up by fourfold to 800 in a year's time. While the SAR is looking to play a part in creating a zero-waste Greater Bay Area, Zhe said it does not mean that the region is disposing its garbage to the mainland. Instead, the region is only looking for new forms of economic cooperation, he added. Janice Low, Cable News.
While Donald Trump is a man of many firsts, his latest update was far from an achievement to brag about. Trump became the first U.S. president, be it former or current, to be convicted of a crime after a New York jury found him guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the landmark trial. The decision capped 6 weeks of proceedings, during which prosecutors and defense lawyers combed through thousands of pages of evidence and examined 22 witnesses. The jury panel of 7 men and 5 women then arrived at the verdict following 9.5 hours of deliberations over 2 days. They concluded the business magnate had falsified documents in a bid to conceal the hush money paid to a porn star ahead of his 2016 election.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
Trump did not mince words as he faced the press after leaving the courtroom.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
The 77-year-old will return to court on July 11th when sentencing is scheduled.
Well, next will be sentencing. The judge will get a pre-sentence report. All this to be done within a year. And likely Mr. Trump will receive a non-custodial term and possibly a fine and so forth.
Trump's legal team is expected to appeal against the verdict. But even if they don't, there are no rules barring him from running for president again. Raymond Yang, Cable News.
Amid the shifting of spending patterns of residents and tourists, retail sales in Hong Kong recorded the second monthly drop in April. According to the Statistics Department, the value of total retail sales shrank to $29.6 billion in April, marking a 14.7% drop year-on-year after a 7% drop in March. For the first 4 months of the year, the estimated value of total retail sales decreased by 4.7% compared with the same period last year. Most types of retail outlets recorded a drop in sales. Sales of commodities in supermarkets decreased by 3%, whereas sales in department store goods, apparels, electric goods, and other consumer durable goods dropped more than 20%. The city's government partly blamed this on a drop in visitor spending and a large number of outbound trips during the Easter holidays. Amid the trend of Hong Kongers heading to the mainland to spend, Hong Kong Ferry's Executive Director Colin Lam said it is likely that people want to follow the trend and experience something new. But he also pointed out that as more tourists are returning to Hong Kong, in addition to the city's own advantages like high-quality medical and educational resources, the majority of residents will continue to stay and spend locally. Meanwhile, the Hong Kong Retail Management Association admitted that the industry has entered a very difficult period of time, but is confident that the mega events to be held in the second half of the year should provide support. The industry group suggested the government to release the event calendars 9 to 12 months prior to the events to give retailers enough time to prepare and leverage on the events. Bess Leung, Cable News.